in a while, so here I am. And I wanted to address the question people always ask is why can't I talk exactly as I'm thinking? Because I know I can think quite intelligently, quite fast. I'm quick on my feet. I'm even witty and funny when I'm thinking in my head. But for some reason, it just won't verbally come out. So, what is that? When it seems like everybody else are just able to speak just like that, and there's nothing stopping them, and I'm the only one who has this block. And then so therefore I might stutter, I might slur, I might mumble, and it just gets all mumble jumbled in my head. So this is a very great question, and it's something I do talk about with my one-on-one clients and even in my workshops, yada yada yada. So here it is. I like to look at the brain, the mouth, body, and mind. So let's go through it together. These are just simple questions you can ask yourself, and you can have a little introspection even if you're not doing a one-on-one coaching session with me. So here it is. Number one, have you ever had any head traumas? See, that's addressing the brain. So if you ever had any concussion, you had whiplash, you were in a car accident, things like that. If you were, as a kid, you fell off the slide or the swing, anything like that can affect your brain and how it develops, especially if you had that as a child. Any type of jaw injury, jaw trauma as well, because oftentimes that rattles the head. So if you know you've had any type of head trauma, that's going to affect, let's say, your verbal fluency, the ability to be able to pull out the words from a thought to your mouth and out. So that's going to affect it. You're going to have to retrain yourself back into a proper verbal fluency. I talk about verbal fluency all the time. You know it if you want to go to my channel and then check out verbal fluency. It's one of the first videos. Check it out. That's what I talk about. So that's on the brain functioning, and that's how quickly you can get those words put into your mouth and out into the world, because you deserve that. People deserve to hear you and your wonderful thoughts. All right. So that's something we want to think about. Have we ever had some sort of head, jaw, any trauma in this region? Number two, do I have another language that I speak? Do I have any dental work that I do? Anything that addresses your dental anatomy in any type of way, including your mouth posture. This is something we don't think about quite often. And I know a lot of people have gone through a speech pathologist before they've come to my channel or come to me for coaching. And a lot of times it's because your mouth posture is a little bit different. Let's say if you speak another language, for me, Japanese was my first language. And so I had a Japanese posture. And so what that means is your tongue sits in a very different place in the mouth naturally. So oftentimes I'll slip up into my Japanese posture and I'm forcing myself into an American posture. And so if you're not able to go back and forth in different postures because you speak different languages, then it could be quite hard. It's going to be harder for you to get the words out simply because you haven't adopted the posture of the language that you're speaking. This is something, again, we don't think about very often, and speech pathologists, for some reason, they tend to not address this. I don't know if it's because they're not trained in it or they just don't know, or they just address very specific tongue posture for specific sounds. That's what they tend to do versus the overall posture. When you're not even speaking, how does your mouth rest? Where does your tongue go? All of those things really matter. Before you even say a single word, you need to know where your mouth is at. And for some people with different postures, even if I look at somebody's jawline, for example, is it aligned? Mine is a little bit recessed. So I have a recessed jaw, and that definitely affects how I speak, because then my tongue has to accommodate for the recessed jaw, and then my dental has to accommodate. It's all in the chamber, the music of your voice, of your prosody, all of that matters. This is your instrument, so to speak. So when I look at you, or when somebody professional looks at you and your mouth posture, they tend to look at the anatomy, the overall structure, because if you're looking at it holistically, it's not just about, hey, can I train my tongue? That's very good, and it's going to get you to that next step. But do you know the anatomy and how that affects your whole entire body? I don't want to get into too detail of it, but even if your neck is a little bit forward, if you know basic chiropractic work, then you know your whole body compensates for that. And that definitely affects even your voice prosody, how deep your voice is, how high your voice goes. This also affects if you sound more like a leader, a more dominant personality. More dominant person has a bigger chamber, so they tend to have more air, so they have great posture, or they just have an anatomy that's bigger, like football players, right? They have a bigger anatomy. When I say football, I mean American football, but they just have a bigger capacity to take all that in, and they have a deeper voice. But for somebody like me, who's a woman, who's just naturally more small and petite, if I want to have a more dominant voice in that sense, I have to actually expand myself and overcompensate in some type of way because I don't naturally have that. So it's knowing what tools you currently do have, that's the body, and using that to your advantage, and your weaknesses trying to compensate for that, whatever it is, whatever your goal is, so to speak. So knowing where you are right now in terms of your body, your brain, your mouth is going to be so beneficial into knowing what you need to do next. Okay, so we went through the brain, mouth, body, and then the mind. Okay, so I know we tried to underestimate the mind. There's so much personal development, whatnot out there, and I'm really into personal development. However, it can be too much and overwhelming, and sometimes it becomes less beneficial in some type of way if you follow one thing for too long and it's no longer working. For example, mindset. It is so important. Do you have any type of social anxiety? Ask yourself, be truthful, be honest with yourself. You don't need to tell anybody, be honest with yourself. Do you have any type of social anxiety? Because if you do, in any situation, whether it's somebody, especially if it's somebody who is of higher authority than you, this happens a lot. So say your boss or somebody who you deem as higher authority, this happens a lot. Let's say in the dating world, men see women as of higher authority, so they get a little bit nervous. This happens in the workplace. Somebody that you admire their job position, you get a little bit nervous. So that does tend to happen, and that will trip you up even if you have amazing verbal fluency and you're amazingly charismatic and you know how to shoot the shoot and whatnot. But for some reason, when you're in a specific situation or when you're talking in front of a specific person, you clam up and shut down. So when it comes to this, I always like to say, know your tools, because you can always lean back on tools and techniques. It's the reason why I did the whole PDF, how to speak like a leader in a meeting. It's free PDF, 14 pages down below in the description, so you can have a word for word script. And the reason for this is not because the words is what matters the most. It's simply the fact that this is a toolkit that, hey, if I start saying, well, actually, what I really wanted to say is, and you just know certain phrases to start you off with, it's like a little jump start. It's a little crutch into making you feel a lot more comfortable, a lot more better. And it's just going to help to have a little bit of a toolkit, few techniques that you can draw from just to get over that little hump. I talk about speaking publicly, and a lot of people really love my little hack of putting your thumb like this, and it calms down your nerves if you, let's say, are speaking on stage, which I've done a lot. And when you speak on stage, the lights are blaring and there's thousands of people in front of you, it's so inconspicuous. You hold your thumb tight, and then it slows down your heart rate. It's almost like you're what do you call it, you're trying to slow down the blood flow. And by doing so, you actually calm yourself down. Breathing is very important, but sometimes we forget to breathe. So again, tools and techniques. Maybe this will work for you. Maybe just having a quick breath will work for you. Maybe anchoring a certain move will work for you. I talk about all of this in my channel, so check it out. But whatever it is, if you have tools and techniques in your back pocket, you can always draw that out. You're good to go, right? So that's something I definitely want to push out there. But that being said, that's what I wanted to deliver to you here today. Do you do appointments? Yes, I have my one-on-one coaching in the description down below. So if you're interested, check it out. Sorry, do we have any other questions? You're speaking to my soul, but sometimes it's okay to make the boss feel special. Oh yes, 100%. You have to make the boss feel special. You have to know your position. It's just a matter of being confident in helping and supporting your boss versus being nervous, because I've been in both positions, and trust me, when somebody is on my team and they're confidently saying, "Hey, I got your back, Tina," as a manager, that feels amazing. I trust you and I will look out for you. No matter what, of everybody in my team, I trust you and I will look out for you because you said it so confidently. And even if you mess up and you own your part, and you say, "You know what, that was on me. Let me do it better. I will do it better for you." It's that confidence. It's not about disrespect or trying to one up anybody. It's not about that. It's about the confidence in your voice and your body language, how you carry yourself throughout the world, because people sense that. And people will not just judge you, but they will do things good or bad based on that and how you communicate who you are to the world. And I think if you're on this channel, you have a sense that that is true. So that's what I'm just trying to bring to you here today. And definitely, people complain about, oh, like I can't afford certain things. There's so much free content. Here, I have over 100 videos. Yes, free PDFs. And I say, if you haven't gone through every single video of mine, and you haven't gone through the free PDFs that's out there, and you're complaining about anything, look, it's a mindset problem, not a mechanical problem. So again, go through the brain, the mouth, right? The body, and then the mindset. So that's what I'm about here today. Hopefully that was helpful. And I will see you on the next video. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm just looking a little last minute. People sense that for sure. Yes, where are you located? I am located in beautiful Los Angeles, California. Even though not everybody thinks it is. But I will see you on the next video.